Hi there, this is Aaron with Access Property Management. In the spirit of the Halloween season, we thought we would share some horror stories with you. So this particular story that I have to share with you, it happened this year, 2019, and it's actually still happening as I film this video. It's not yet been resolved. So we had a new client come on in June, and he bought his first duplex, and it was in Grand Rapids. And this duplex came with 2 tenants. Each unit was occupied. And right off the bat, there was problems as far as the seller is concerned. There were claims made by the tenant that they had paid their rent for that current month, June, to the seller. And there were no prorated rents given at closing. And furthermore, the seller did not transfer the security deposits over to the buyer, our client. That created obviously a situation where we don't have deposits. As you probably know, tenant deposits are property of the tenant until they move out, and the landlord can make legal claim to it. So the buyer did not end up getting prorated rents for the month that they took over, and did not get security deposits. So time goes on, we're managing, the tenants are not paying us rent, so we end up going to court. One of the tenants just moved out, and that happened about a month after we took over. So there was 1 unit vacant, which was turned, but the downstairs tenant did not move out and did not pay rent. So to kind of speed this story along, we've been to court every month with the downstairs tenant. So July, August, September, here we are at the end of October, and we're going to court again next week. So this tenant has paid rent for the months that we've gone to court, after we've gone to court, but has not showed up to any of the court dates. So here we are thinking each time we go to court that we're all set, things are going to start happening, things are going to fall into line, the tenant will move out. Then what happens is the tenant files a motion to set aside each time. So not only did the tenant not show up for court, but then subsequently filed a motion to set aside, which was granted each time. So we've been to court 2 times for every 1 time we should have been to court. So that's been a lot of stress and a lot of legwork, obviously, for us. So here we are. The lease officially ended on September 30th. We filed a 30-day to terminate the lease, and once again we went to court, and tenant didn't show up. We were granted, obviously, the right of possession by the judge. We get an additional 10 days. 10 days expired. We filed for the writ to get the eviction going. And the very next day, I got a message from our attorney stating that, once again, a motion to set aside has been filed by the tenant. This tenant has not showed up for any court dates on time, has made claims that, either rent was paid to the seller, they didn't get the notice, so on and so forth. Every excuse under the sun. So we have another court date next week, Tuesday, which will take us into November. At that point, I'd like to say I know what's going to happen, but the way things have gone, I really can't say for sure. I think we're finally to the point, given that the last notice was a 30-day to terminate, we might actually be seeing light at the end of the tunnel, but who knows? So the moral of this story, and there are a couple of them, the first one is to make sure when you buy a rental property that you are very clear with the seller that you're entitled prorated rents starting when you take over as owner, and that the security deposits are to be transferred to you in full as of the day of closing, preferably on the closing statement, so there can be no chasing them around after closing. And I guess the next lesson here is just, I don't know if there's a good solution here. We've filed all the appropriate notices to this particular tenant, and it's just gone on and on and on. She's paid rent after the court date, but here we are still chasing rent, and now we're chasing possession. So that's my story. If you enjoyed our story, take a look at some of our other blogs. We've got a lot of great information here. Leave us a comment, give us a call, fill out our contact form. We'd love to hear from you. Have a safe and happy Halloween.